Welcome to the Air Reserve Component Case Management Division, ARC-CMD. Our office manages the Medical Continuation Orders Program, also known as MEDCON. While on MEDCON orders, the intent is to provide access to care so that the member is able to return to duty or be entered into the Integrated Disability Evaluation System, IDES. In order to be placed on MEDCON orders, there are several eligibility factors that the service member must meet. By utilizing our myPers MEDCON site, this will provide an overview of the program requirements, listing of the required documentation to submit for an initial application, and our references for additional guidance. The first step will be to determine if the service member meets eligibility. If the service member incurred an injury, illness, or disease while on a qualifying military status and will require continued medical treatment, advise the service member to seek medical care or treatment at a military treatment facility or authorized civilian healthcare facility. Place the service member on an Air Force Form 469 with the appropriate duty, mobility, and/or fitness restrictions for the entire duration of the medical condition recovery timeframe. Initiate a line of duty through the electronic case tracking ECT system and route for adjudication. Based upon the service member's duty status, routing for pre-MEDCON orders or extending current orders may be appropriate. Ensure to keep the service member on the same funding source of qualifying orders for when the LOD condition occurred, such as Title 10 or Title 32 orders. Next, have a conversation with the service member to discuss their options for continued medical care. In order to qualify for MEDCON orders, an initial application will need to be submitted to verify eligibility. Keep in mind that although this is a voluntary program, the service member must adhere to specific responsibilities such as reporting for duty, attending medical appointments, and providing medical treatment documentation. Another option is to utilize the LOD for TRICARE coverage and seek treatment without being placed on orders. Also, if the service member chooses not to be placed on orders, however, unable to perform their civilian occupation, they may seek entitlements through incapacitation pay, INCAP pay. If the service member chooses to proceed with MEDCON orders, then an initial application will be required to be submitted via myPers to our office for review. Forms and information required are Attachment 1, Service Member Medical Point of Contact, and Unit Commander must sign a letter of acknowledgement stating they are aware of their roles and responsibilities if MEDCON orders are approved. Attachment 2, Medical disclosure authorizations are required to release medical information or documentation to the office along with the National Guard Bureau or Air Force Reserve Command Surgeon General Office for case management processing. Consent forms are not required for military treatment facilities since those are automatically authorized. However, all civilian facilities will require a separate authorization form to release information. Attachment 3, medical treatment documentation dated within 30 days of the application submission is required to determine treatment plan and recovery time for medical validation of MEDCON orders. This would need to include, but is not limited to, date when the restorative treatment is planned to begin, location of treatment, methods used for treatment, prognosis, and estimated length of duration required for treatment. Attachment 4, an Air Force Form 469 with mobility restrictions greater than 31 days is required to demonstrate the LOD condition has rendered the service member unable to meet mobility requirements. Attachment 5. Provide proof of the military status for when the LOD condition occurred. This may be in the form of official orders, unit training assembly rosters, UTA, or inactive duty training forms. Attachment 6. An Air Force Form 348 copy from ECT is required to determine that the condition occurred while on a military status. Additional requirements may include a current point credit accounting and reporting system, PCARS. This is required for any LOD condition older than a year. If the member's LOD condition occurred while on an MPA order, an M4S med case must be submitted prior to submitting a MEDCON application. This is required whether the member was on pre-MEDCON or not. Reference our MEDCON orders processing guide for step-by-step instructions to create the med case. If an enlisted service member does not have retainability of at least 31 days or more, they must re-enlist or extend to obtain enough retainability since we cannot authorize orders beyond their ETS date. The same applies to an officer with an upcoming mandatory separation date. Once all documentation is ready to submit, upload the attachments using the requested labeling on our myPers initial application site and fill in required contact information. Provide any additional communication to our office using the comment section, then click on Submit. You should receive an automated email message stating that our office received the application. The initial verification review will be completed within 1 to 3 business days. After the review is completed, the MEDPOC and service member will receive an email stating the application was determined administratively complete and has moved on to the medical validation review, or an email stating the application is being returned without action for missing or incomplete items. During the initial application process, if there are any questions, please refer them to ARC-CMD Resources Branch at 210-565-3218 or DSN 665-3218, or email us at afpc.dpfam@us.af.mil. For additional training, please review the Medical Continuation Orders Processing Guide located on our myPers site. Attend our quarterly webcast for current trends or upcoming changes, and join us on our MEDPOC Facebook page to learn best practices from other MEDPOCs.